I decided to crochet a leprechaun gnome without a pattern, just using the basic knowledge I have about crochet. I decided to use just whatever I had on hand. I had worsted weight yarn, cheap yarn that you get at Michael's. I have my stitch markers. I have everything I need in order to make something Leprechaun St. Patrick's Day themed. This whole project began when I was just kind of tired of feeling stressed about my project, always counting things out. And I realized that I know the basic foundations to make basic shapes when it comes to crochet stuffies and amigurumi type toys. So this started out with me making a leprechaun bag. I wanted to make just a small pouch bag because I figured that was something I could improvise without really counting out stitches, just making it up as I went along. And then my husband came along and was like, "Oh, cool, you're making a gnome." And I was like, "Yeah, now I am. Let's do that instead." For me, crochet is really just a place for me to get my mindfulness, to relax, to just enjoy what I'm doing again. And recently, I've just been feeling kind of stressed on counting and all the different projects and making sure I'm following the pattern correctly. And I just didn't want to do that for a little bit. I just wanted to sit and wing a pattern and make something just for the joy of making something and seeing if I could. And thus, this project. I think a lot of us kind of fall guilty to that imposter syndrome where we don't recognize how much we know and what we are capable of. And so we don't really put ourselves out there for whatever reason. Or maybe it's just me. I don't know. Let me know if you do that too. But this was just a chance for me just to make for the sake of making. And I'm actually really proud of what I was able to get done on this project. My first time making something without following a pattern. There are definitely some cons of just winging it. There are times in this project where I just had to make things up as I went. And there are definitely better ways to do some of the things I did. Like you can see here, me trying to do this color work, you're starting to see the buckle get much, much thicker than the rest of the body. You really cannot tell by the end, so I have zero regrets of doing that. But it's still awkward in the moment, and you kind of panic and being like, am I going to do all of this work just for it to look messed up at the end? More often than not, though, when I've been winging it, it turns out how I imagined it or better. So if you are someone who, like me, who second guesses yourself or questions if you should try, go for it. Do it. You can make it up as you go. You can adjust and have a product that you weren't expecting, but that is just as fun as something you were originally planning. The more I dabbled with crochet, even just going through free projects that I find online, the more skills that I've realized I've acquired, such as crocheting in the arms and nose like I did without having to sew. The more projects you do, the more you realize you want to figure out ways to not have to sew. At least that's my stance when it comes to adding on appendages and connecting pieces. Avoid sewing wherever I can. But it's crazy all the skills that you learn, and you don't really recognize that until you are making your own design, making it up based off of the things that you know how to do. You just have never given yourself the credit for all of that knowledge that you actually do have.
When I started with this project, I really just thought about the skills I already have, what I already know how to do. How do I do color changes? What are the basic shapes I can make? Circles, ovals, um, not really squares, but like tube like figures, like what I'm doing for the arms and the legs. And how can I take those individual components to make the product I want to do? It's really You'd be surprised, actually. I keep saying that. Sorry, I'm a broken record, but you'd really be surprised on all the skills you already have and how you can apply them to create whatever product you are wanting. If you're brand new, I might say start off with working on projects and learning different skills through the different projects that you might use. But once you get the basics, you can easily use them to apply to different products, such as the body has a similar makeup as the hat, just different stitches, different sizing, and it all comes together at the end to make my leprechaun gnome. So there you have it. That is a process I used. I know I didn't give a specific tutorial, but imagine what you can make if you just sit down and start making. I'm curious. Please let me know what you have always wanted to make, but you've always overthought it. Um, Let me know if you're going to try to make something and how that process goes. I hope that you have a positive experience similar to what I had with my own winging it project that you saw here. Thanks for joining. Talk to you next time.